Kevin Gordon here from Autosavant.com with your February 21st edition of the Afternoon Commute. Took the day off from the commute yesterday for President's Day. Big ups to all those dead presidents out there. For any of you that actually took a moment to think about our early presidents and what they did, good for you. I don't think it's that large of a percentage of the population, unfortunately. Today, a bunch of things to go through on the old afternoon commute, starting with the fact that the 2012 Chevrolet Camaro configurator popped up online. It's one of those things that dealers have had for quite a bit because a lot of people have already ordered their ZL1s for 2012. But it is interesting to know how much they're actually going to cost and what the true set of options are. There aren't many, to sum it up. There's a color choice that adds a little bit to the cost. You can get suede on the steering wheel and shift boot, a few other little places. There's an upgrade to the sound system, and really that's about it. If you price out the current ZL1 against the current GT500, it comes out about $1,000 to $1,500 more. And that's with the competition pack, I believe they call it, for the GT500. You know, the Camaro fans out there will say that, you know, the Camaro is a much more complex car with, you know, multi-link independent rear suspension and the like. That's all fine, and all those arguments will be settled once the 650 horsepower version of the 2013 GT500 starts rolling off the line. But I did want to point out the fact that for $57,000 or whatever it is, it's actually amazing to me that you can get a 580 horsepower car with the magnetic dampers that are in the Camaro. I mean, it's an amazing, amazing thing for something with that much technology packed into it to come in under the $60,000 mark. So I know I've given the Camaro a little bit of a hard time in the past, and I wouldn't really expect myself to change opinions greatly, but it's still an impressive thing there what GM did with that car. Next up, even before the Geneva Auto Show, which our very own Kevin Miller and Chris Hawk seem slightly desperate to go to. You know, they really have a bit of a crush on Geneva, it seems, and of course there's all that, you know, fun Euro stuff going on over there. All of the leaks, or as they're also known as carefully timed releases by the media departments of the automotive companies, continue to come out. Today, Mini leaked one of their concept cars that they're bringing to Geneva called the Clubvan, built off of the Mini Clubman. It's really just a Clubman with no rear seats and a divider behind the front seats, so you can use it as a bit of a panel van or something like that. You know, it's as close to being a production concept car as they come. It looks completely finished. It's just a question of, I think, reaction to it to determine whether or not they will build it. And if they do, I think they might sell a couple of them. You know, it's an interesting little concept. It seems like one of those things that a little company in the area could brand up just to have something unique that they drive around some of their product in. And, you know, we shall see on that one. Next up for the day. On Friday, later in the day, it leaked out that a Swedish man was found trapped in his car under some snow. Normally not all that interesting, you know, this happens to people in avalanche and heavy snow areas. Well, this guy was trapped in his car for 2 months. And it wasn't like he had a supply of power bars in there with him. He was trapped in his car for 2 months with almost no food. If you do a little bit of looking, you'll see that that's right at the upper limits of how long somebody can survive with no food at all. And a few people in the science community came out to talk about it, and what they said was he managed to actually get lucky by being stuck in his car in a snowbank for 2 months, in the fact that his body temperature dropped a little bit and he went into almost a natural hibernation state. His heart rate slowed down a bit and his caloric burn rate slowed down as well. So he was in the hospital under intensive care, but for all intents and purposes, he's going to make a complete recovery. So pretty interesting thing there, and a good reason to keep some extra blankets in your car and at least a winter preparedness kit, because he did have a sleeping bag in his car, and it seems to be one of those things that kept him alive. The next thing I had for today is something that really, I don't think got any media coverage, but to me it's a little upsetting, and it's the fact that the road that goes up Pikes Peak, that's famous for hosting the Pikes Peak annual hill climb, was paved this year, which means that for the 2012 race, they're going to be racing up something that's completely asphalt. No longer at the top of the course are you going to get those, large gravel sections and those huge, drifting unlimited class cars up there. It's going to be completely paved, which in a lot of people's opinion is going to completely ruin the race. And I have to say, it is going to ruin a lot of the magic there, because the biggest part of the challenge was prepping a car that could run the bottom set of asphalt really fast, as well having the grip and control to be up on the top gravel sections. Why did it get paved, you may ask? The Sierra Club, the environmental club from, emanating from the western regions, sued to get that road paved. And the reason they did it was supposedly they were continuously dumping enormous amounts of gravel up there to keep the gravel road open for the amount of visitors that drive up it every year, which I think is in about the 250,000 people range. And all that dumping of gravel was polluting and causing all other sorts of problems. So after 13 years, I believe, after their lawsuit, they finally paved the road to Pikes Peak. So it should be interesting to see what the race is like this year. And finally, for today, 6 years ago, a young man got in his father's brand new Shelby GT500 and drove it through his garage wall. It's one of those videos that I will link after this one that's gone a bit viral on the interwebs. Well, Daniel Tosh from Tosh.O fame on Comedy Central is giving him a web redemption, which should air tonight, I believe. Could be wrong. If I am, I'll note it in some text, which should be potentially scrolling by, I'm guessing right about here. The reason I'm driving where I am right now is because of the fact that I found another Kazashi. Look, I'm going to turn around so you can see it. Something you're not going to see a ton of in the real world. Another absolutely like Kazashi in the slightly darker gray color. And that one must have nav because I see a little backup camera. There's a rare find. Anyway, so sorry for the attention span of a fruit fly there. Worth a watch. Daniel Tosh, love him or hate him, he is actually funny, and I'm hoping he does a good job with the web redemption, considering I think it's one of the only that's automotive based. So there you go, your afternoon commute for today, February 21st. I'm Kevin Gordon from AutoSavant.com, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.